Lena was born into a world that others perceived through sound. For her, the earliest memory wasn't a melody sung by lullabies, but the gentle thrumming of a mother's heartbeat when held close. She couldn't hear it, of course, but the consistent vibrations nestled deep within her being, like a kind of intimate secret only she was privy to. Early on, as other children sang and laughed, Lena would sit quietly, her fingers tracing the vibrations of their movements, their infectious joy truly contagious. Her home was a space resonant with silent energy. Her father, an engineer, often sketched blueprints at the table, his faint pencil scratches barely perceptible except to Lena, who felt each drag across the paper. It fascinated her how the world teemed with activity discernible by the fine pulses it emitted. Where others saw chaos, Lena found a rhythm. At age 6, she was introduced to the piano, an enormous, mysterious creature that sat in her grandparents' living room. Her grandfather, a great lover of Beethoven, whose fate was mirrored in her own, guided her hands across its keys. At the touch of cold ivory, Lena felt a jolt of life. Her fingers pressed gently, and the power coursed back. A teasing surge of silent symphony. It was a gateway, a tactile promise of a boundless world, beckoning exploration. She soon found solace within the silent hulk. Hours turned into days as Lena experimented with keys and pedals, inventing tonal landscapes based only on vibrations traveling through her hands and up her arms. Her kin watched in awe as she played songs inspired by the invisible textures she felt. Navigating school was both challenge and revelation. While others memorized notes with disciplined ears, Lena leaned on mathematical equations that explained the sound she never heard. Numbers were predictable, unlike the tempestuous nature of sound waves, and they became her friend, guiding compositions with precise logic. New worlds emerged through sheets of complex math equations scattered around her room, a constant companion, much like the vibrations beneath her fingertips. Classes at music school introduced her to young peers possessing sharp ears, but Lena was something different, a prodigy. She could hear what wasn't said, feel applause infused with communal excitement, thriving where words fell short. Those around her began recognizing a latent magic in her, an unspoken talent communicating through emotional translations rather than audible notes. She developed compositions that painted stories, evoking images she herself couldn't conceive. She found rhythm in crowds, discerning patterns in everyday noises she could not consciously join in. Her unique language slowly spread, captivating instructors and classmates who would sit dumbfounded as her finished works played out loud, transforming silent sheets into vibrant experiences. The dawning realization, as her understanding deepened and the applause louder not in sound but in spirit, carved a path destined for brilliance. The music sighed deeply from within her, bound not by notes or lyrics, but through an indelible impression she left upon all who had the fortune to witness her genius translating silence into symphony. Lena's compositions whispered their way into the hearts of listeners across continents. Her nimble fingers danced over ivory keys and taut strings with precision, crafting harmonies that resonated in the deepest recesses of human emotion. Audiences could not help but be carried away. Some laughed, others cried. Many found solace and love amidst the swells of her music, though Lena herself only ever understood it through vibrations felt, not sounds heard. As her fame spread, a strange, profound longing settled in Lena's heart, an unfamiliar sensation akin to a fragile melody she could never hum or hold. Though celebrated worldwide, Lena felt a dichotomy between the applause that roared and her silent world. In private, she'd retreat into moments of solitude, closing her eyes to imagine the world her music painted in color and form, leaning on the echoes of touch and sight. Lena's concerts transformed into gatherings of kinship and communion, where silent symphonies spoke volumes beyond the reach of language. Attendees left changed, introspective as they pondered hidden facets of self, others inspired by newfound creative truths. Each performance was a tableau of life's complexities, a weave of dreams and heartache, binding them into a beautiful tapestry. Despite the cacophony of praise, Lena cherished moments with her intimate circle of friends. Their connection surpassed understanding of sound or silence. They shared in everyday serenades of life, unmarred by what might be missing. With them, Lena saw beauty in the absence of recordings, where music's spirit roamed unfettered amidst untouched notes, crafting moments precious in their intangibility. As Lena matured, her compositions grew in complexity and depth. She marveled at how uniquely people interpreted her creations, narratives layered into her silent symphonies. Her performances became platforms for shared humanity, where silence connecting the notes often offered more kinship than the music itself. Observing the crowd enraptured by her music, with expressions of awe, tears coursing down cheeks, hands reaching towards each invisible note, gave her an understanding deeper than any sound. On stage, bathed in the soft glow of spotlights, Lena sensed invisible waves of her music cascading outward and returning in waves of palpable emotion. It was here she truly felt at home, not in the resonance of unhearable notes, but in the profound impact of music unspoken. A silent bond between her heart and the listening crowd, weaving its own melody, one she'd conduct yet never play. In the quiet solitude of her studio, Lena sat at the grand piano, its polished keys gleaming softly under the ethereal light streaming through an open window. The room was her sanctuary, a place where the outside world's noise faded into muted whispers. Here she delved deep into the silent symphony of her heart. As her fingers hovered over the keys, she reflected on her life, her gift, a contradiction that was both blessing and burden. She had devoted her existence to creating music that spoke to others in ways words never could. Yet her own world was devoid of the sounds she conjured. The vibrations she felt through the piano, resonating deep into her bones, were her only connection to the art she crafted. With each composition, Lena had poured a piece of herself into her work, leaving behind traces of joy, sorrow, love, and longing. These intangible emotions resonated with her audiences, echoing in concert halls and quiet living rooms. Though her own ears would never hear the rapture she created, today she was composing her final piece, a testament to her journey. Every note was a bead of memory strung onto a melody, each chord a bridge to a moment lived, cherished, or mourned. From the depths of her heart, Lena began to weave this tapestry of sound, threading through layers of joy mixed with the melancholy of farewells. The piece began softly, with gentle keys that mimicked the warmth of a sunrise. It was a tribute to beginnings, to the trust she had placed in a world unexplored. Her hands moved with a confidence born from years of silent symphonies, crafting crescendos that climbed like vines, curling into spaces where light met shadow. Then came moments of quiet reflection, dips into pools of subdued harmonies, the gentle counterpart to the louder sections. These reflected her internal struggles, questions about her place in a sound-filled world, a realm she could only touch through others' reactions. As the music swelled once more, carrying with it the bittersweet taste of acceptance, Lena felt the room around her transform. The window's view stretched into a serene landscape, mirroring her newfound peace. She was bound to a journey that was uniquely hers, a path shaped by silence, yet teeming with symphonic beauty found in others' hearts. When the last notes faded, disappearing into the ether like floating leaves, Lena rested her hands in her lap. The room was filled with an unseen tapestry woven from those moments, all culminating into a symphony that, though unheard by her, was profoundly understood. For Lena, the act of creation was complete. In this final silence, she found fulfillment in knowing her music lived, breathing through the joy and tears of those it touched. Even in quiet, the musician had shared a world of emotion, crafting a legacy whispered through vibrations and felt in the echoes of her gift.